This is Joseph Coco with MoCCA Lab. I'm at MoCCA Fest 2012. Paul, if you would introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Paul Hoppe, or Paul Hoppe. I've been for quite a few years now at MoCCA with the rabbit anthology, and this is the first time I have my own table, kind of, and so it's exciting to see how my stuff by itself will work.
That's great. So, you've been to conventions before, or this is your, you say you've shared a table?
I've been now, I think, this is like my 6th MoCCA or so.
Oh, that's awesome. Are you exclusively going to MoCCA, or have you tried fishing around at different conventions during the year?
Last year I went to Stumptown actually for the first time,
okay.
and I've been at the Brooklyn Comics and Graphics Festival 2 years. I've been to SPX once, so I've been to some of the indie cons.
Okay. So can you give me a little bit of background on yourself, what your influences are, maybe where you kind of built up your style, that sort of thing?
Should I look into the camera or look at you?
Whichever's fine.
Okay. I'm an illustrator really, but my first inspiration were comics, and after doing some illustration work and I've sort of came back to it. I make a living as an illustrator. I do editorial and children's books and some comics work, and then I do comics for myself, just for fun, kind of. So these books are with bigger publishers. This is with Chronicle, for example, children's books that I have written as well. I like to tell picture stories or have narrative in my illustrations, and so making picture stories for me makes just sense, whether it's a children's book or it's a comic. This is kind of a series that I've been working on for the last couple of years now.
Okay.
I do that kind of after hours. They are very much sort of inspired by my childhood comics and things that I was reading as a teenager. A little bit of Marvel, a little bit of DC, and a little bit of indie comics. I have now 4 titles of Journey into Misery and 2 of Tales to Behold. And that's kind of a whole universe by itself. They are very much sort of, inspired by a little bit of Silver Age, I guess. Very nerdy, very silly at times. And it's just sort of stuff I do for fun. That I like working with art directors and editors, but I really, really like also to have at the same time something that I just do for myself. I need that sort of balance.
So are you trying to break into the comic industry, would you say, or is this something that you plan on doing as a hobby for the long term?
I think I really need to, the reason for me to do this body of work is really to, for myself, to sort of have something that has no purpose at all. So I really need to have that thing where I don't have always the thought of, selling.
The deadlines.
Just like I have, it's pure hobby, kind of. At the same time, I just finished up illustrating a graphic novel for Random House and Schwartz and Wade, which is a young adult book, which will come out hopefully for next MoCCA.
Okay.
And so that was the first sort of big comics project I did with a children's book publisher. So the commercial comics field, I don't think I really fit in there, but definitely sort of the indie and the maybe the young adult comics field. I mean, I've done some work for them already, and I think that makes sense for me. And this is, for example, a little bit of a different direction. This is a location project. It's just sort of images from Red Hook, a simple little narrative. Always doing well at the Brooklyn festivals, of course. So it's a very straightforward sort of. These were the first comics that I've done when I was sort of coming back to comics. It was coming out of illustration and then became picture stories. These are 2 volumes of short comics that are sometimes autobiographical, sometimes fiction, and that's that's a little bit of a different direction. This is, I guess, in some areas people respect this work because this is very silly. So this is things from other anthologies, some of it for Rabbit Rabbit, and some of it for German anthologies, and it's sort of a collection of shorts.
All right. So, would you have any advice for someone who's trying to break into the comics as more of a hobby than?
I mean, you know, it's the advice is coming here. I think is a great advice.
So the conventions, just focus on the conventions, getting your product out there.
The indie ones are really good. You talk to people, you get some exposure, and then I mean, in the end, of course, I think that people who break into the field, they also do want to make some money off it. So I think I would also always look into like the children's field, like because that's where a lot of publishers right now are making graphic novels for young adults, for you know, autobiographical things, historical things, non-fiction stuff, and there's actually work there, paid work. If you don't just look at Marvel and DC, but like at all these other publishers nowadays, they're also producing comics, and those are very similar to the indie comics. I mean, a lot of the people that work on a 200-page graphic novel for Random House, those are people from here, not necessarily the people from Marvel and DC.
Yeah, I understand.
So you know, that can actually become
lead to a career
and really become something where you don't have to completely sell yourself, but it's work that actually means something to you. So this is actually much closer to that world, and it pays. Like people have from minis gotten graphic novel deals at MoCCA. And so like, and you have to know people, you have to be in touch with people, find peers. That's very important.
Okay.
That's, I think, the single. I mean, and that works for all of the art fields, I think.
Yeah. All right. So, is there anything that you'd like to promote? I noticed you were talking about Journey into Misery.
Yeah.
Is that your sort of long-term project?
This is the 4th issue of Journey into Misery. It's actually a double issue. These others have kind of one story. This has 2 stories. It's the same characters. One of the stories goes all the way into space, and yeah, I put a lot of love into this, and I hope that people will enjoy it. This is the latest one, but yeah, they're all kind of loosely connected. They make sense on their own, but that's always important to me. But it's sort of a whole universe that I'm creating. And if you have kids in your family, the children's books they might enjoy even if they're not into comics.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Paul.
Thank you very much, Joseph.
It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, hopefully you'll also have a good festival.
Yeah.